Hey y'all, it's me, your girl Manza Moore, and today I'm bringing you on my first ever book review. So as you all may or may not know, I have an Amazon storefront now. You guys can click the link in my bio and check out all the books that I'm reading. Ebooks have changed everything for me, and I love physical books, but yeah, ebooks is where it's at, y'all. So I'm going to share with you all three books that have incredibly blessed me in this year. The first one I want to start with is called Shame and Grace by Lewis B. Smedes. I love this book. I have been wanting to learn a lot more about shame, and this book did an incredible job of breaking down the difference between unhealthy shame and healthy shame. I feel like shame is something that a lot of people struggle with, and if you have complex trauma or you've been through any type of trauma especially, shame is something that you may be kind of burying within you. I was able to learn a lot more about how I've overcome my complex trauma, how I used to disassociate, how I related to not just fear but also shame, and just all those different things, because I personally do feel like shame and fear kind of go hand in hand. A lot of times we are afraid to feel certain things if it just doesn't feel good or if we feel bad about it or embarrassed. And so this book was so good. It is a bit more of a dated book because it did come out like I think in the 80s or early 90s, but it is a really, really good book and it blessed me tremendously. So I really recommend it. I actually found it at my local library and it was an amazing read. The next book I want to share with you all is called Fear is a Liar by Daniel B. Lancaster, I believe it is. That was such a good book. Wow. Fear is a Liar taught me so much about how to overcome fear on the daily. It has this really great like 4-step process that it shows you. And with this 4-step process, it makes it just really, really easy to overcome any type of fear that comes up in your day. I feel like one of the biggest takeaways that I got from this book is knowing that anytime that you're afraid, remember that God is like there and present. Because a lot of times when the enemy tries to attack us with fear, every time he puts kind of like a picture in our mind, it's like God is not going to be there. And so that makes us kind of sometimes more anxious, right? And I just thought that that was a really great way to frame it and to look at it. Obviously, we always hear God is with you, God is with you. But I honestly felt like it was just something that really helped me to just kind of keep that in mind. Anytime the enemy brings any type of vain imagination into your mind, cast that down immediately and remind yourself God will be with you whenever you cross that bridge of whatever it is that you may feel anxious or fearful about. I also meant to mention both of these books were Christian books, and the next one I'm going to mention to y'all is a Christian book as well. So the first two books I just mentioned, they are kind of more so like psychology, self-help, which I do read books like that and I really enjoy them and I love learning about those type of things. But I also wanted to read more fiction in this year, and I have been trying to pick up more fiction books. And I actually came across a book that got me out of a really bad book slump I was in halfway through the year. And this book was called Dysfunctional Family Values by Reagan Dennis. Basically, there's a main character in a book that is a girl, and she has overcome a lot of trauma in her life. She comes from a dysfunctional background, and her mother, honestly, like, oh my gosh, the mom is so insane in this book. Like, this book to me felt like a movie from start to finish. I was so into it. It was such an easy read. It's only like 200 pages. Like, I zoomed through this book. As somebody who used to struggle getting through books, this book was such a breeze for me. Like, it was so easy for me to read. I think I finished it in like less than a week, which is kind of like unheard of for me. Like, I'm telling y'all, I do not read that fast. And I am a slow reader for sure, y'all. Like, I'm definitely a slow reader, but this book was really, really good. I don't want to give away the entire book, but this girl has a very tumultuous relationship with her birth mother. Her grandmother adopted her. And yeah, the mom, y'all, like, she reminds me a little bit, if y'all have ever seen, I feel like a lot of movies have mothers like this that are just kind of like not nice to their daughters, but it's a book that honestly was really good. It teaches a lot about forgiveness. It teaches about knowing how to move on from your past, and just kind of moving on and choosing what's healthy and what's good for you. And it does really just honestly cover a lot about complex trauma. And so I really enjoyed being able to read a book that's something similar that I would read like subject matter wise in a psychology book. And I also feel like it also helped me kind of address certain grief that I've had in my life. And that was something that was really good also as far as just reading this book and enjoying it. It is a Christian urban fiction book, and I've never read a Christian urban fiction. I actually think it was my first Christian fiction book too, now that I think about it. Well, actually, I take that back. I have read Christian fiction when I was younger, but it was really, really good. And I've just been enjoying my journey so much, y'all. If you are a person who wants to read more books this year, I really encourage you to get a Kindle. I do have a direct link in my Amazon storefront, so check that out. And also make sure to keep checking the link in my bio so that way you can see any new books that I'm checking out or reading. I'm trying to share it on my stories and on my feed and across my social media accounts, so make sure y'all are following me everywhere. And yeah, y'all, that's it for this time. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next book review.